evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another battle report. This time it's fantasy battles, and it's 5,000 points and advanced magic. We're trying out that supplement that was released a while ago. I've always thought it looked interesting, and I really wanted to try it. Hopefully I'll do some feedback on it soon enough to also maybe a paint a scrambling episode about it or something. But for now, we have a battle report on it, and it's Vampire Covenant versus the Beast Herds. So I brought out my other army and had a good time with it. So, excuse me. This battle was played a while ago, I should say. My coughing just reminded me of that. I should have recorded it on the same weekend that I played it, but I couldn't be bothered. And then the weekend after that, I was sick, and I'm still coughing a little bit. But now my voice should be able to get through this. So I'm playing against Beast Herds, so of course he has some ambushers. 2 units of Wildhorns, more exact, 15 in each, and with a musician, paired weapons, and throwing weapons. He also chose to ambush one of his beast chieftains with the dragon staff. This is the rest of his army after deployment. We'll go from the right. He has a raiding chariot and a razor tusk chariot. Next he has 10 centaurs with a centaur chieftain in them. The centaurs have the ban of discipline, paired weapons and throw weapons, and full command. The chieftain has Hawthorn curse, which is a weapon blessing that lets him throw it as a bolt thrower. Really quite nasty. He also has Potion of Swiftness, so that he can strike before enemies if he wants to. Quite nasty character. Next we have a unit of Gargoyles here in the back, and the big unit of Longhorns. They are 38 in numbers, with halberds, full command, and banner of speed. And joining that unit is the Battlestunner Bearer, a beast chieftain. It's a greater totem bearer, and he has Alchemist alloy, Obsidian rock, Talisman shielding, and Aether icon. So fairly tanky, a lot of spells, and magic resistance 3. Also joining that unit is the Soothsayer, who's a general, a wizard master of Druidism with the Archwizard upgrade. That gives him an extra channel and an extra spell, as well as access to both the pure spells number 1 and 2 from the this is an upgrade from the advanced magic Scepter. He has the crown of Autocracy, so discipline 9, and the Destiny's Call and the Scepter of Power. Next we have a big unit of Mongrels, 47 to be exact, with Spears and Shield, full command, and ban of discipline. Joining them is a beast chieftain, a cheap little dude. He could have been ambushing, but he chose not to. This guy has the paired weapons with Shieldbreaker, so he ignores armor save. He wanted to have him on the table from the start. Also joining them in the center here is a Minotaur chieftain, and he's a bit nasty. Also greater totem bearer, so he doubles up on all the totems. He has Fatal Folly, Basalt Infusion, Willow Sword, and Lucky Charm. Fatal Folly is the weapon that allows him to strike back every time you roll 1 when attacking him to hit. I should also say that we chose to misplay a rule here. The Archwizard upgrade on the Soothsayer it has rules that makes it so that if he casts a spell, no other model can cast spells that turn. And if another spell wizard casts a spell, then he cannot cast spells that turn. So it's either him or all the others. And this does include bounce spells, but my opponent wasn't aware of it at the time of list building, and we figured it would be a much more interesting game if he just played it as he had thought and as I really think it should be. So next time we'll probably play it right, but for now we'll just let it be. Continuing, we have a unit of gargoyles over here. There seems to be something over there, but I can't really see. I think I've got it all. Yeah. So we'll move on to my army. Vampire Covenant and von Karstein. Let's start from the top here. We have a Varkolak and a unit of 2 bat swarms. Next we have my big unit of Arrow Guard, 36, full command, have a hand weapon and shield. They have the black standard of Sagwoods, so +1 to hit. Joining them is a Battle Standard Bearer, Arrow King, who's got the Indecipherable Script, which is an item from the Advanced Magics. It gives him +1 armor and a bounce spell of the number 1 pure spell of any path available to wizards in either in the army or in the armored list. I can't recall. It's a neat item, though fairly expensive, 80 points. But on a Barrow King you can take it and still get a decent protection. In addition to that, he has a shield with Willow's Ward, which is not Visivig. I am greatly ashamed, but I wanted to try this build. And he has a Lucky Charm, so he has a decent armor save and a reroll. And he also has the Flaming Standard. Why will be apparent soon. Behind them, or slightly behind them, is a unit of zombies, 20, with Standard and Musician. And joining them are 2 Necromancers. One is a Master of Alchemy. He has a Binding Scroll and a Magical Heirloom. Also joining them is an Adept with Evocation. He's an Arcane Collaborator. We'll get to what that is in a minute. And a Crystal Ball. So the Alchemy, of course, combines well with the Flaming Standard of the unit. 2 more Bat Swarms and a big unit of Skeletons, 50 in total. 51 even. With full command and Flaming Standard, so another combo with the Alchemy. Next we have the General, a Vampire Count on a Great Monstrous Revenant, which is not ideal, but I wanted to use this model and it turned out to be a lot of fun actually. So he is von Garstein and he has Stormcaller, which is hard target within 12 inches, which is good but fairly useless in this matchup. Although it is useless. That the bolt thrower thing that the Centaur had ignored all twit modifiers, so whatever. He's an Adept in Evocation, and he too is an Arcane Collaborator. That means that the 2 Arcane Collaborators I have, it's a free upgrade, and they have to have the same path, and they both gain access to the number 1 pure spell. If I had 3 collaborators in a single path, they would have access to number 2 spell as well. He has paired weapons with Cleansing Light, so again a combo with the Alchemy. Legend of the Black King, so for a total of 4 up armor and a 4 up Aegis. Shield, so 3 up against shooting. Obsidian Rock, so magic resistance 2. And Dragon Staff, which I forgot throughout the game. 2 Great Bats, and another unit of 2 Bat Swarms, a Shrieking Horror, and 10 Ghouls with a Champion, who's in the middle there. So that's my list. We'll see how it goes. He deployed first and dropped. I think we dropped a few back and forth, then he dropped everything to go first. The scenario is what's it called? The banners 1, scoring units at the end of the game. Why can't I remember the name? Whatever. And deployment is, of course, the diagonal refuse flank deployment. Yes. So I vanguarded my Varkulak up a little bit, like so, and then he started moving. Since I had the Barriguard here, he chose to walk the Longhorns on this side of the impassable. He could have taken on the other side. These 3 units all move up to stare down the Varkulak, and otherwise he stays fairly put. He threatens me with a Master of Stone on the general, and I didn't want that to happen. Stupidly enough, I let Oaken Throne through. I think he rolled 2 dice and rolled like an 11 on the dice and +1 crystal balls. I needed to roll an 11. So my option was either letting that go and letting and then being able to dispel whatever else he had coming, pretty much, or I could dispel this and let him run wild with the rest. In hindsight, I should have done the latter. You shouldn't let the Druid Master get the Oaken Throne through. So my turn. I really should have taken more pictures here. Yeah, I moved up a fair bit, quite aggressively on the left flank, a bit more restricted on the right, and then I used my my spell casting at the advanced magic, Spirit Link, I think it's called, the #1 spell that the Battlestunner Bear has on his armor, and my general took as one of his spells. And I switched place with the Barriguard and the skeletons. It's an incredibly fun spell to use. Excuse me. I hope that wasn't too loud. Yeah, where was I? Guess I wasn't that recovered after all. It's an incredibly fun spell to use. I also got, before I switched them, I cast Word of Iron on the Barriguard, so they have more armor. Just a small spell though. I think I started the magic phase by casting this spell on the switch place with the Shrieking Horror and the Bats, which is a nice trick. But to dispel that, which left me with plenty of options to do with the rest of the magic phase, so that's when I switched these 2 units. But yeah, overall it was a fun time had by all. This is just the same picture again. Then came the fun bit, because he was now staring down at my chilliest block with his Mongrels, and he didn't want to charge, but the Minotaur Warlord has Frenzy, and he failed both tests and went in. So I thought, ooh, golly, that's nice. Though then it quickly turned sour again, because he also got both his ambushers through. So behind my Necromancer bunker we have a unit of 15 Wildhorns with a Chieftain, and over here on the other flank another unit of 15 Wildhorns. He moved up a little bit elsewhere. Nothing too interesting. He's coming around the skull in the middle. He got the Gnarled Hide Totem, giving him distracting and +1 armor. And this is not the spell he cast. He cast the Druidism spell, #1 your spell, Can't remember the name, but it gives the unit poison. Which, I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but it actually did help him quite a lot, as it turns out. This is after the combat, and he punked me, to be frank. I had not expected that, but he rolled fairly well. I rolled quite poorly on my 4-ups. I hit on 4-up and had 4-up armor against a lot of his attacks, but things just... my dudes just kept dying and his didn't. I missed my attacks. I directed a bunch of attacks onto the Chieftain here, but to no real... I didn't do anything. And in my previous turn I had launched a silver spike through the unit and did 2 wounds to the Minotaur, so he had 1 wound left. And I didn't activate my flaming banner, so that in this turn I could activate the to strike at him a few attacks, hoping to get lucky and kill him, get that last wound off him. But I failed that. Or no, maybe I didn't do that because he recovered a wound thanks to the Druidism spells. Yeah, that's true. So I didn't do that. But I lost the combat, stuck around of course because of my dad, but it didn't go as well as I had hoped for sure. My next turn, the skeletons turned around to face the Wildhorns, and the Necromancer bunker just ran up to try and get away. The bats over here moved up to shaft the Wildhorns, and these bats moved up to cover this unit so that his character couldn't charge the zombies. And the Shrieking Horror moved up here so that the only thing he could do was charge him, and I into position to scream at him as well. Which he did, and a few died, as you can see here. Quite a good scream. Magic, I switched places with the bats here and the zombies, so they got away safely. And I managed to get some sort of alchemy spell through. I think it was really irrelevant. I failed a few castings, and then the best thing I could do was just some lame spell to get them rerolls to wound. What I should have done probably is use the Ancestral Aid on instead, cast it on these guys, because that's rerolling to hit is better than rerolling to wound, at least when you're hitting on 4-up. Because the combat continued going poorly. I managed to kill the Beast Chieftain now at least, but he did take down a fair number of guys. He had like 4 attacks that ignored armor, so that was nasty. And yeah, not great. In his turn, the Beast Chieftain charged the bats, and these guys moved up to throw weapons at the Shrieking Horror. Just a close-up of this combat. The thrown weapons did 2 wounds. I was not expecting that. This guy used his breath weapon to kill the bats, and this is just another unit of bats that was placed there from the Spirit Link. This combat continued going very poorly. Just 5 barrel guard left now. The Minotaur just tearing through them, and even the Mongrels doing really well work. I mean, Primal Fury and a lot of AP and Poison, it's a nice combo. Over here, he charged the Centaurs into the Varkulak. Did some wounds with the character. I killed the character after that, and the unit killed me. So it was a very nice trade for me, I think. The Work Luck is a little bit more expensive, but I kept him away from the rest of the game very effectively. My turn again. The skeletons charged here, the general into the flank of the mongrels. Moved up the bats to chaff, the great bats to chaff. No, the bat swarms to chaff the longhorns. And stupidly enough moved the great bats over here in short range of that chariot. Fortunately, failed that charge later. The Shrieking Horror moved up to kill this guy with a Shrike. And with magic, I regrow unit a fair bit. I got another Alchemist spell up. I got Word of Iron off on them and made him flammable, and I recovered both wounds on the Horror. That was nice. Same picture again for some reason. This is the turn that the combat turned in my favor. Of course, having a vampire count in the flank is always good. And but I didn't manage to break him because he was still steadfast. In his turn, I must have forgotten to take a few pictures. In his turn, he managed to cast the stone skin on them, so they were really high resilience. But I got lucky in that following turn and still managed to break the unit. And this is where I ended up in that. After that, I overran with both units to make sure I caught them, and the general got into the gargoyles here. Although I'm starting to, my wizard bunker is starting to get surrounded. The gargoyles and the Wildhorns and the Shrieking Horror can't deal with all of them, so a bit of an issue. Down here, the skeletons are doing quite poorly against the Wildhorns. The first turn, he killed a bunch, and I killed a lot back. And I won the combat by 2, I think, and he stuck around on this 5, which was lucky of him. But thinking back, that combat is not great for the skeletons. He ignores their parry, and I mean they're just skeletons, and I'm too far away to boost them in any way. I could probably have reached them with a Word of Iron, though. Should have tried that probably. But yeah, it wasn't great. And I mean, statistically, over a course of a lot of combat rounds, I should win that. But of course, games don't happen in a vacuum, and as we'll see eventually, the Wildhorns got help. And but it's likely that I will win a combat or 2 when he fluffs his attacks and might go well. And that did happen in the first turn, and then he was lucky to stick around. So it's not terribly unlucky for me to have that happen. But as we'll see, it was very relevant. This combat continued. I screamed that the gargoyles left one alive. I can't see here. That's a better picture. The necromancers abandoned the unit and joined the ghouls instead, and the zombies moved up to block here. I should have used my magic to strengthen this unit. I really should have done that. I could have, but I didn't think of it for some reason. Because now we're nearing the end of the game, and we are aiming to kill the scoring units, and I really shouldn't lose the zombies. And as we can see here, he's declaring to charge into their rear, and that's the Wildhorn unit. And he charged, and he popped me, and no problem at all. So the rest of the game was just me trying to get as many scoring units as possible. He did kill the zombies here because I didn't raise them. That meant he had killed 2 scoring units, and I had killed the Mongrel herd, and I would probably get this one unit. So at that point it looked like a draw, and if I had managed to get lucky and kill this unit, this Wildhorn herd unit that he has now regrown as well, then I would have won the objective. But that was pretty much the end of the game. We danced around a little bit. I did what I could to try and get the points from that, to kill that last Wildhorn unit. As it turned out, it was really risky. I did some stupid moves. He managed to get to shoot at this character with these guys, and he also got a Monster of Earth thrown on him, but I was lucky and survived. But other than that, not much more happened. In the end, I killed that unit with the Shrieking Horror. So that's how it ended. I raised some zombies here, just to box him in further. So that's the game. Yes, you can look at this last picture. We tallied it up and I won with about 500 points, and the objective was a draw, so that was a 12-8 for me. It was a fun game. I really liked the pure spells for evocation, the Spirit Link where you can switch places with units. That was incredibly fun. I would definitely be using that again. I think I can optimize the army a bit more with that in mind. Being able to double up on the spell is really important. I think I can use that more to my advantage. Maybe get even more magical moves into the list to be able to do that really reliably. Although if that's all you do, then you're not gonna win any combats, because Vampire Covenant needs the combat buffs. But yeah, that was fun. A short summary of our thoughts on the Essence of War supplement is that more spells is great fun. A lot of them seems really interesting, but the rest of the pack, the items are decent. They are fairly interesting. But the big problem is this threadbare whale strength situation. You have to keep track of where you cast spells and all of that. And the only thing this affects is the pure spells, pretty much. There are some items that are affected too. But, I mean, we had 5,000 points armies, and we each had one spell that was affected by this rule. It was a lot of bookkeeping for a very small effect. I would like that bookkeeping to still be in effect, but I would want it to affect all the spells in the game, not just the pure spells. It's our simple thought on this. But it's an interesting pack, and I hope people will use it more. Yeah, so I guess that's gonna do it. Thank you for listening, and I'm sorry for the coughing. Hopefully I didn't blow your eardrums out, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.